singing bamboo. It's singing a little love song to you. Telling of the small island rendezvous, a heaven that was made just for two. Listen to the sweet singing bamboo. It's singing a little love song to you. To the sweet singing bamboo, it's singing a little love song to you. Listen to the sweet singing bamboo. It's singing a little love song to you. 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 It's singing a little love song to you.
By the way, that was, jeez, I hate when I do that. I'm going to have to trim this out. That was my uncle, E. Mike Alani, Uncle Mike. He sang E. Kua Nakoa, wonderful song, kind of like a Paniola kind of song, Hawaiian cowboy kind of song. Just wonderful entertainer. I think he still plays to this day. Just a brilliant, wonderful man. And everybody in my family in Hawaii is fantastic. My father sang the second song, which is Sweet Singing Bamboo. Listen to the sweet singing bamboo. It's singing a little love song to you. Yeah, impressive. My father was just an amazing singer. Kind of sounded like Nat King Cole. Impressive, just super impressive. But anyway, Michael Mathern. There's no sound. Thank you very much. You're the reason why I did this. You're just like, I know it's so stupid. I apologize for that, guys. But anyway, so back to the topic at hand, our First Amendment rights. Okay? Besides the other rights we have that are being, our privacy, our ability to move freely about the country, are being stripped away, layer by layer by layer. But this one is probably reaching in and pulling your bones out instead of the surface stuff. This is the worst thing that I think is happening, is our First Amendment rights, and it's getting really bad, to the point where if you look at the title of the show, you have, God, who are these guys? Pachai, Zuckerburg, Dorsey, Wojcicki, or all these CEOs and presidents and owners of Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and Google and all this stuff. They're just able to dictate with their power and their control, money, on what you can and cannot see, because you're just a child and we need to hold your hand. if you don't feel that way, and if you're not getting what's happening, then hopefully this show will kind of explain what's going on. We have narratives, talking points, an agenda for particular parties on both sides of the aisle. What's fortunate for me, okay, what's just fortunate as hell for me is I'm able to be independent or free. I can talk shit about Trump. I can talk shit about Biden. I can talk shit about Clinton. I can talk shit about Mitch McConnell. I can talk shit about Pelosi. I can talk shit about Ted Cruz. I can talk shit about Ben Carlson. I can talk shit about, I can talk shit about I can talk shit about Howie Hawkins. I can talk shit about Joe Jurgensen. I can talk shit about everybody because I am a proponent of being able to write in your vote or write in voting. So I actually started that nonprofit. It's going to be a lot of work, but I need some help with that. I'm solo right now, but I do have a lot of people that are starting to jump aboard and understand that it's our constitutional right to be able to toss a name into that hat, right? Without being connected to a party. We'll get back to that maybe later, but right now, what's important is being able to at least to have a discussion, challenge authority, at the source, check the sources, like I always say, chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And it's becoming very apparent that at this present time, major censorship is happening. We're seeing Derek Bros, who does the Conscious Resistance, taken down. We've seen No More News taken down on Twitter. We've seen Last American Vagabond, who in a couple of shows back I had on my show. He was taken down on Twitter. Actually, they took him down from Google, period. Google just eliminated him. And, of course, on YouTube. But he actually has a side YouTube, which is doing well. Hopefully, we'll get to that too. But I think this hearing that just happened, right? And there's a few others out there, many others. Convo Couch has been censored. I've been censored on Facebook. I've been censored on YouTube. A lot of things that I've tried to repost on YouTube have been censored. And it's just getting fascist. It's it's beyond communistic. It's just a perspective. And this is just my conclusions, right? I'm just having a discussion. I mean, whether you believe or you think I'm full of shit or you think I'm just righteously got it down, that's up to you to decide. That's up to you with your cognitive thinking to put 1 and 2 together and come up with 3 or 3.5, whatever the fuck your mind does. I don't know. But what I do know is it is your choice. And this choice is so just fucking getting destroyed right now. It's getting destroyed and it shouldn't happen that way. So the hearing clearly dictated, indicated to me, and I didn't watch all 5.5 hours of it. I'm just getting bits and pieces on my Facebook, and I'll post it on Twitter, the link, and on Monotalk on my Facebook, the entire hearing. And what is amazing to me, is, I came from a very liberal family. I became a Republican in a sense. Later when I was doing real good and everything was fantastic, like a lot of people, right? I wouldn't say I was part of the 1%, but I was damn close. And I started just whatever the group was saying, okay, Republican fine. And then I started to do my own research. I started to find out the voting patterns and what these legislators and judiciaries, these legislators at the state and federal level were voting for. I was starting to pay attention, and I think the biggest reason for that was I think my daughter. My daughter definitely did that. Both my daughters are fantastic, but I started taking life a little seriously, right? Way more seriously than I used to. If you get to the point to where you kind of don't like the way the world's working, and you step back and you see the death and the destruction from the wars, and you start to pick up pieces and find out that AE 911truth.org are a bunch of people that are trying to tell you that Building 7 and 9/11 didn't fucking fall because of a fire from office furniture and a couple of books and some papers. That didn't fucking happen. And if you still think it does, then maybe the show isn't for you, or my information isn't for you. You know, if you think Julian Assange is a planted Russia spy and all this other shit, then definitely this isn't for you. But I hope you do listen, because I think it's up to you to make that decision. I think it's up to you to say, hey, you know what? This fucking fat Hawaiian is kind of got a few of his talking points on point, or kind of makes sense. Some of the things he's saying is kind of making sense. In other words, I want you to decipher for yourself what you believe is best, is truthful and factual, not just by taking my word for it. You're going to have to do your own work. You're going to have to check the person that actually gave you the information. Where do they come from? What do they do? What do they like? What are they a part of? What are their connections? And they're going to have to find out the information that they're giving to you if it's real. So check with the sources. You know, don't just go. And this is the thing about people that I used to be, probably up until about 2008, 2008, 2009. As soon as that depression, in a sense, happened, I was like, fuck, this is fucked. But it got me really thinking a lot harder. And then I started doing my own research, checking myself before I wrecked myself, you know, chiggity. And I began to determine, what I believed was going to work best for my interests, which was going to be, and my interests are, and this is where this kind of deciphers the direction of how you're going to put this information to work, how you're going to vote. Really, it depends on where you're at in your mind. I mean, I've always been, look, I've fished in Alaska, Canada, Texas, Hawaii, California. I've been in rivers and lakes and oceans all up and down around, right? I've been to Mexico, blah, 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 blah. I'm over on the East Coast. I've been to Ohio. I've been to Kentucky. I've been to, I've been through, Tennessee. I've been, a lot of places. But the thing is what I'm learning is that it depends on what the person's interests are. What are their core beliefs? So my core beliefs are taking care of the planet and all of its inhabitants, and that includes you. That includes you. Whether you're going to vote for Biden, or you're going to vote for Trump, or you're going to vote for Howie, or you're going to vote for Joe Jurgensen, or you're going to vote for Gloria La Riva, which, be honest with you, I went that direction out of California, because I know Howard just a tool at this point. It's just sad. Just destroyed the Green Party. Maybe one day we'll go over that after he fucks it, just totally destroys the Green Party. But so I created writeinvoting.org, right? Nonpartyvoters.org. Because right now, most importantly, our First Amendment rights, our freedom of fucking speech is being destroyed. It's being ripped off from the core, from the inside. And it needs to be dealt with like yesterday. It needs to be dealt with like now. So let me just kind of play the Ted Cruz real quick. It's not very long. It's about 8 minutes. And I'll kind of go through it and kind of tell you what my perspective is on everything. And then I'm going to play you another one and another one. But I think it's important for you guys to hear. And I got to tell you something. You know the world's backwards when a guy like me that used to be a Democrat, used to be Green Party, now is more independent, writer-in voter, all the way, is like, yay, Ted Cruz. I'm just like, fuck, what the fuck has the world come to? But anyway, he makes some valid points. It's sad. Right now, the left is making the right look like the fucking hero. It's just ridiculous. It's ass backwards. But this is what happens when you have the two parties. You could have one side saying the same thing about the other side, and they're always pointing the finger like this. The shoe could have been on the other foot, right? But there's never another foot. That's the problem in this country. There's never another foot or another foot or another foot. There's just 2 feet. 2 fucking big toes, motherfuckers. But anyway, let me just play this real quick.
Chairman, I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing. The 3 witnesses we have before this committee today collectively pose, I believe, the single greatest threat to free speech in America and the greatest threat we have to free and fair elections. Yesterday, I spent a considerable amount of time speaking with both Mr. Zuckerberg and Mr. Pachai. I have concerns about the behavior of both of their companies.
Sorry, it's just, the guy irks the fuck out of me. He just irks the shit out of me. But he brings up some extremely vital and important pieces of information that everybody should be fighting for right now. Ugh. All right. I don't know if I want to have my face next to the...
I would note that Facebook is at the minimum at least trying to make some efforts in the direction of defending free speech. I appreciate their doing so. Google, I agree with the concerns that Senator Klobuchar raised. I think Google has more power than any company on the face of the planet. And the antitrust concerns are real. The impact of Google is profound. And I expect we will have continued and ongoing discussions about Google's abuse of that power and its willingness to manipulate search outcomes to influence and change election results. But today, I want to focus my questioning on Mr. Dorsey and on Twitter. Because of the 3 players before us, I think Twitter's conduct has by far been the most egregious. Mr. Dorsey, does Twitter have the ability to influence elections?
No.
Bullshit! I'm gonna let it go.
You don't believe Twitter has any ability to influence elections?
No, we are one part of a broad spectrum of communication channels that people have.
So you're testifying to this committee right now that Twitter, when it silences people, when it censors people, when it blocks political speech, that has no impact on elections?
People have choice of other communication channels with which...
Not if they don't hear information. If you don't think you have the power to influence elections, why do you block anything?
Well, we have policies that are focused on making sure that more voices on the platform are possible. We see a lot of abuse and harassment, which ends up silencing people and having them leave from the platform.
All right, Mr. Dorsey, I find your opening questions, your opening answers absurd on their face. Let's talk about the last 2 weeks in particular. As you know, I have long been concerned about Twitter's pattern of censoring and silencing individual Americans with whom Twitter disagrees. But 2 weeks ago, Twitter, and to a lesser extent Facebook, crossed a threshold that is fundamental in our country. 2 weeks ago, Twitter made the unilateral decision to censor the New York Post in a series of 2 blockbuster articles, both alleging evidence of
Blockbuster. Oh, God, okay.
corruption against Joe Biden. The first concerning Ukraine, the second concerning communist China. And Twitter made the decision, number 1, to prevent users, any user, from sharing those stories. And number 2, you went even further and blocked the New York Post from sharing on Twitter its own reporting. Why did Twitter make the decision to censor the New York Post?
We had a hack materials policy that we...
When was that policy adopted?
In 2018, I believe.
In 2018, go ahead. What was the policy?
So the policy is around limiting the spread of materials that are hacked. We didn't want Twitter to be a distributor for hacked materials.
That's ridiculous. That has nothing to do with. Okay. That's your answer, Dorsey? That's your answer? That's all you can. That's sadly this is all he can pull. This is the only answer he has is some fucking stupid thing about hacking. Like the New York Post just got fucking hacked. Is that what you're saying? And put that up. You wouldn't yourself or your thousands of employees be able to easily just call the editor or have that. You guys don't have access to editors of the Huffington Post, right? The producers of MSNBC, right? You guys don't have the producers of Fox. You can call them and say, hey, what's going on with this article because I'm about to pull it. Did somebody hack your fucking account? Because if that's what you're saying, then you only have to call a few people. Okay, Mr. Dorsey? So that's a bullshit answer for a question that is absolutely necessary and needed. That answer is pontificating in its fucking purest form. Right? It doesn't do anything but clearly state that you don't have a fucking answer. You're relating it to hacking. So the Washington Post and everybody else that's put up all their information have been hacked. All the people you've censored, the hundreds, because it's not the narrative. Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but let's listen to the rest of it.
We found that the New York Post, because it showed the direct materials, screenshots of the direct materials, and it was unclear how those were attained, that it fell under this policy. Now,
so in your view, if it's unclear the source of a document, and in this instance, the New York Post documented what it said the source was, which it said it was a laptop owned by Hunter Biden that had been turned into a repair store. So they weren't hiding what they claimed to be the source. Is it your position that Twitter, when you can't tell the source, blocks press stories?
No, not at all.
So let me just give you a little update, and you can look this up. So the left is saying it's fabricated signature, the receipt, et cetera, but the person that had the laptop, this is during Hunter's cocaine, fucking crack smoking, partying times. This is when he was completely and totally just a binging motherfucker, okay? The owner of the place that had the laptop made another drive, okay? One, when this happened in 2019, a while ago, was pulled by, here's the FBI's had this thing and done nothing with it. What does that tell you? That's true. I've fucking searched all over this planet to make sure that's hard evidence, which it is. The other thing is that they actually have him calling Hunter's phone from the cell phone company, saying, hey, your laptop's here. Hey, your laptop's still here. Hey, your laptop's in here. And I think he sent a picture that it was fixed or something to that effect. You need to come pick it up. There's like, I think 10 or 12 messages left for him to come pick up his laptop. But just to let you know. So this is, and somebody said this, and let me just read this from Michael here. So basically, which means that the corporate types only need to corrupt those two parties. and voters have nowhere to get in reaction to the corruption. Which I get what he's saying, because it means they can get it from both sides, right? But if you're getting it from one side, then I think it's up to us to decipher that information. Just like the Podesta files came out, WikiLeaks, and just Julian Assange right now is being detained against his will for for the wrong reasons, and nobody, especially the mainstream media, that keeps pumping out all this COVID shit and all this bullshit that people are still gobbling up. This guy just needs to be freed, right? But just to let you know, Julian Assange and his information from WikiLeaks, they've never had to retract anything or apologize for a single piece of data. Zero. Nothing. Meaning their information has been 100% accurate all the fucking time. And that's scary. Michael would agree to this. That is the scariest thing to a corporation, or the corporate elite 1% do not want you to know that they are pulling the strings on both parties. On both parties. They're pulling the strings on both parties. They'll give $6 million in campaign contributions in 2020 so far. Big Pharma will, right, to the Republicans, and they'll give the same amount, maybe a little less or more, probably more, I think, to the Democrats, which I think it looks like they're giving more. Big Pharma is giving much more to the Democrats, especially during the time of COVID. Interesting. So who's pushing the narrative further? But it's still out there. There's a warp speed vaccine coming. Yeah, so keep in mind what's happening here is it's not really, it's kind of a dog and pony show, like the Supreme Court ruling on Amy Coney Barrett, which everybody knew because the Senate controls, the Republicans control the Senate, that was just going to happen. And the 2.5 days or 3 days of the hearings or whatever was just, it was a waste of your fucking time. It was a waste of your time. Look, if I'm moving too fast for you, I'm just saying there's so much more going on here. And once you dive down deep, and I'm talking, stop, picking shit off the surface, all the distractions that are out there, right? By the way, BLM, in my opinion, is a fucking distraction. It's important. It's needed. It is happening, but they've been infiltrated, from what I can tell, by the Democratic Party. Period. I still don't hear them asking for the most important demand of all. The most important demand, getting money out of politics. I've asked every single fucking leader. I've emailed their BLM and everybody that supports BLM, their leaders. I've left messages. I've called. I've talked to people on the street. I said, how come one of the biggest problems to all of this in regards to the brutalization, the subjugation, the oppression, et cetera, of African Americans in the United States, which is money in politics, because these lobbyists that pay for these tanks and this gear and all this shit isn't going away unless you take the money out of the fucking politics. You're not going to get Medicare for all unless you get money out of politics. You're not going to stop Fukushima and these nuclear plants from polluting your rivers, your lakes, and your oceans because there's still money in politics. You're not going to get a decent wage because there's still fucking money in politics. But anyway. So I'm kind of going on a tangent here. Let's get back. Censorship, right. Freedom of speech.
Our team made a fast decision. The enforcement action, however, of blocking URLs, both in tweets and in DM, in direct messages, we believe was incorrect. And we changed it
today.
24 hours.
Oh, so now it's incorrect. Oh, you got to hear this response from Cruz. This is fucking epic.
Right now, the New York Post is still blocked from tweeting 2 weeks later.
Yes, they have to log into their account, which they can do at this minute. Delete the original tweet, which fell under our original enforcement actions. And they can tweet the exact same material from the exact same article, and it would go through.
So, Mr. Dorsey, your ability is you have the power to force a media outlet. Let's be clear. The New York Post isn't just some random guy tweeting. The New York Post has the fourth highest circulation of any newspaper in America. The New York Post is over 200 years old. The New York Post was founded by Alexander Hamilton. And your position is that you can sit in Silicon Valley and demand of the media that you can tell them what stories they can publish, and you can tell the American people what reporting they can hear. Is that right?
No, this was a, every person, every account, every organization that signs up to Twitter agrees to a terms of service. Terms of service is
so
published.
Media outlets must genuflect and obey your dictates if they wish to be able to communicate with readers. Is that right?
No, not at all. We recognized an error in this policy, and specifically the enforcement.
You're still blocking their posts. You're still blocking their posts. Right now, today, you're blocking their posts.
We're not blocking the post. Anyone can tweet.
Can the New York Post post on their Twitter account?
If they go into their account.
No is your answer to that. No, unless they genuflect and agree with your dictates. Let me ask you something. You claimed it was because of a hacked materials policy. I find that facially highly dubious and clearly employed in a deeply partial way. Did Twitter block the distribution of the New York Times' story a few weeks ago that purported to be based on copies of President Trump's tax returns?
We didn't find that a violation of our terms of service and this policy in particular, because it was reporting about the material. It wasn't distributing the material.
Okay, well, that's actually not true. They posted what they purported to be original source materials, and federal law, federal statute makes it a crime, a federal felony, to distribute someone's tax returns against their knowledge. So that material was based on something that was distributed in violation of federal law, and yet Twitter gleefully allowed people to circulate that. But when the article was critical of Joe Biden, Twitter engaged in rampant censorship and silencing.
And again, we recognized errors in that policy. We changed it.
Yeah, and again, we recognize and blah 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 and da 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 and da da da. I don't think he runs that company. I think he invented it. I think some people came in and took it over. I really don't believe this guy is the fucking running Twitter. I'm not really believing that any of these fuckers are running these companies. I think they're ran by much higher people, and possibly political figures as well, like a team of people. It's just you can create an app, right? Doesn't mean you can run the app. That's important to know. He's not. I don't think he has any more control over it anymore at all. I think other people in higher places have absolute and total control over that on what's happening. They're spokespeople. They're just figureheads now at this point and at this stage. To fucking Washington Post. The Post has been, not Washington, it's New York Post, whatever. It's been around for 200 years, right? And the point was, and it very well put, and I'm not, look, I got to let you know something. The people that are running and doing and handling and taking care and not taking care and fucking over and destroying Congress, right, as we speak, they're attorneys. They're attorneys. Right now, the defendant is on the stand, and the prosecutor is going to ask questions that will either reveal information or not, so that us, the jury, or I guess we're the jury now. I don't know how that's really happening anymore. We'll be able to decipher, from ourselves what's happening. And then, vote and protest or call our congressman or email them or whatever as we deem fit. Okay? But in this particular case, the answers, and I've heard all these answers, but this guy got fucking hosed. And he should have. To me, what I believe is vitally important at this current time, especially, and keep in mind, there's a virus out there, right? A deadly fucking virus, right? None of this is working. The entire system is fucked up. Okay? The entire fucking system is fucked up. It's wrong. It's bad. It's fucked up. It is messed up. It is ridiculous. It is wrong. It's just, it's ridiculous. Oh, Yari's on here. Oh, Yari's on my Facebook. Okay, let me see. Free Julian Assange. Of course, Free Julian Assange, my buddy. Yari Smooter is a great show, by the way. Let me just show you something real fast. Okay, so let me see if I can get to it right here. So these are very important points. There's definitely it's completely biased. I'm not sure, and this is what I think people need to kind of understand, is I'm not really sure how the Democrats, because it's obvious. I'm not really sure how the Democrats were able to get control of the big tech, big communication companies, because they did. It's kind of obvious, right? They have all these fuckers in the palm of their hands. And I'm trying to figure out, where did the fucking Republicans miss this bus? Right? They missed the bus on this. They're not the ones, and trust me, I don't know if you think they would do that, but do you think the Republican Party, if the shoes were on the other foot, and they had control of these telecommunication companies and big tech and Silicon Valley, et cetera, right? Would they abuse their power? I'm beginning to think, yeah. Because there's nobody else that can challenge them. Do you see what I'm saying? There's nobody else that can say, hey, wait, you fucks. You both are just not doing the right thing, and I'm going to tell the rest of the world. But we don't have a third party in there. We don't have anybody else that can go in there and say these things. This is what people are conditioned to believe. It's just supposed to be two parties. It's America. It's two fucking parties. There's two countries on this fucking planet that have a two-party system that is dominated by two parties. The first country, is the United States of America. The other country is Malta. Look it up. Malta. And I think just recently, because I've been saying this for a long time, they're starting to bring in some more parties. But what does that say? Right? What does that say? Let me just show you this real quick. So the comeback, and this is really sad because they really tried to use this. This is really bad. This is really bad. So right here it says, former DHS Director of Homeland Security official says he wrote anonymous Trump critique. Back in 2018, he wrote this big crappy story that he was an insider, didn't want to be noticed, didn't want to be seen or heard. The guy's name is Taylor. Was it Dylan Taylor? Anyway, whatever his name is, he's the kid on the right. And he comes out today, and this is their big comeback, is that now today he's saying that I'm the guy that made that said some bad things about Donald Trump. I'm that guy. Bless his heart, right? I'm that guy, man. I did that. I did that, bro. It's like, it's like, oh yeah. So my comment in here, and I posted this on Twitter too. Wow, what bravery! Somebody wrote something bad against Donald Trump, up against Trump. Super brownie points, lame, right? So this is the big news, right? The comeback, I think it's like I don't know if you guys know what a ladyfinger is. Firecracker, little tiny firecracker, right? So now they're making it big all over the place. Maddow's talking about it, Tapper's talking about it, CNN's talking about it. He revealed himself. You know how many people have talked shit about Trump in his fucking administration that have been fired? Like, everybody. But now this is the big news. This is fucking pathetic, shameful, and embarrassing. Well, the entire system, like I said, is. But this particularly is the big comeback. I'm revealing myself. I'm revealing myself, and I'm the person that did that. It's just so fucking pathetic, man. It's so fucking pathetic, right? So, so he's like saying, hey, I stopped being a coward, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and say something. Like, you couldn't fucking you didn't have the fucking, the guts, the clarity, the courage to do it back then. You're still a pussy. Now you're just being paid. Now it's obvious. You're taking a side. We get it. You're not fooling anybody, but that's just ridiculous and pathetic. Ridiculous and pathetic. Ridiculous, and pathetic. Okay, so, yeah, that's a ladyfinger compared to a nuclear bomb, right? Hunter Biden, all that, Ukraine, China, all the stuff that's started to add up, it's all being, it's not bullshit. It's not from Russia, which they want to say right now. It's all from fuck. It's not. This is not good. The whole thing's fucked. Everything's still fucked. The 99% are still getting hosed. We have to deal with this bullshit from our legislators, our judiciaries, and our executives on both sides of the aisle. How is this system fucking even moving in any direction? I think it's just going backwards. I think we're just going back to medieval times, in my opinion. I think we're going further. You know what? That's being nice. I think we're going into that one movie, Political, where they had that one guy. It started to come to me. What was that? You know, where they're all... okay, I have some help here. Okay, the guy that flexes his... That's all I remember that from.
Are you talking about Idiocracy?
Idiocracy! I got some help across the way there. Stevie with Red Economics just walked in the house. All right. And she brought me a beer. Thank you, babe. Thank you. Awesome. All right. All right, so let me just play something else, and I'll kind of start to shut this down a little bit. But, yeah, that was some good stuff. Let me kind of see if we can finish stuff
24
here.
hours. This is
But you're still watching the New York Post. You haven't changed it.
Yeah, so they haven't done anything. They've kept it. So the orders that these people are given, because I know they're taking orders. Or they're taking a side. But in my opinion, I think they're just taking orders, right? Obviously, they're taking a side. They're taking orders from the side that they're taking orders from. Again, they're taking a side or taking orders from the side that they believe or want or are going to do more for them. Like Ajit Pai, who wants to get rid of net neutrality, who works for the FCC, right? Remember Ajit Pai? This is the guy who wants to make sure that all your private information and which is happening, which is already happening, is just given to the corporations. Like, fucking just here, take my life story. I mean, if you're on Facebook, your life story's in front of everybody. I think they've already got you fucking figured out, which is no big deal. I mean, in a sense. But when it comes to like spending habits and where I'm using my credit card and what I'm buying and stuff like that, that information is very helpful. That data is helpful for Google and their algorithms, and for Amazon and for eBay and for all these companies to be able to decipher what advertising, marketing you're going to see. This happens a lot. You probably see it all the time. You'll probably see it on your Facebook. You'll be scrolling through, and all of a sudden, something comes up that you just talked about or typed in like yesterday or hours ago. You know what? I was just talking about solar. Oh my God, and now there's a solar ad here. You know, I was just talking about car financing. And oh my God, car financing is right there. You know, I was just talking about shoes. And now shoes are right there in front of me. That is so weird. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. The United States of America, we are the greatest consumers and the most obese, in a sense, just me, ever when it comes to consumable products, whether it's service, whether it's a tangible product, and it's really sad. And this is the reason why these corporations want to take our money, period. They're taking away a lot of other things, and the topic, just to stay on it, is our First Amendment rights. Let me get to this other one. All right, see if you can see this one. I'll play this real quick.
Mr. Dorsey, do you believe the Holocaust really happened? Yes or no?
I like this one.
Yes.
So you would agree that someone who says the Holocaust may not have happened is spreading misinformation? Yes or no?
Yes.
I appreciate your answers on this, but they surprise me and probably a lot of other Coloradans and Americans. After all, Iran's Ayatollah has done exactly this, questioning the Holocaust. And yet his tweets remain unflagged on Twitter's platform. You and I agree that moderating your platform makes sense in certain respects. We don't want the next terrorist finding inspiration on Twitter or any platform for that matter. But you've also decided to moderate certain content from influential world leaders, and I'd like to understand your decisions to do so a little bit better. Can you name any other instance of Twitter hiding or deleting a tweet from heads of state?
Not off the top of my head, but we have many examples across world leaders around the world.
Would you be willing to provide a list of those?
Absolutely.
I know we agree content moderation can have certain upsides like combating terrorism, but Twitter has chosen to approach content moderation from the standpoint of combating misinformation as well. So it's strange to me that you've flagged the tweets from the president, but haven't hidden the Ayatollah's tweets on Holocaust denial or calls to wipe Israel off the map. And that you can't recall off the top of your head hidden or deleted tweets from other world leaders. I would appreciate that list. I think it's important that we all hear that. So that brings my next question to the front. Does Twitter maintain a formal list of certain accounts that you actively monitor for misinformation?
No, and we don't have a policy against misinformation. We have a policy against misinformation in 3 categories, which are manipulated media, public health, specifically COVID, and civic integrity, election interference, and voter suppression.
Now, hold on a second. I don't remember seeing that part. Hold on. Wait.
Specifically COVID, and civic integrity, election interference, and voter suppression. See, against misinformation in 3 categories, which are manipulated media, public health, specifically COVID, and civic integrity, election interference, and voter suppression.
That's interesting. And the reason why I said I don't remember that part, but I think the first part of that was a good point. So you guys do know that ISIS had a Twitter account, right? ISIS, not the International Space Station. ISIS. Okay? Yeah. They had it, and God knows how many others. And if there isn't a flagging system, because there's going to be an investigation. This isn't over, okay? Because I think because these, remember, they're prosecutors, they're attorneys, they're either defending or they're prosecuting. But everybody that works in Congress, they're fucking attorneys. They've been trained to fucking ask questions to get the answers they want, right? And what they're looking for, to prosecute or defend. So in this particular case, these three, from what I'm hearing, and if you've gone over pieces of this information, they've stepped on their own dicks dozens of times already. I'm serious. They've fucking shot themselves in the fucking gut. They have tripped over their own big toe multiple times because the information that they're saying, the processes, the systems, the protocols, etc., whatever their guidelines are going to be checked. The data is going to be checked. Everything's going to be checked. And I don't think these guys are chickadee checking themselves before they wreck themselves, because when you're going after a particular, okay, Donald Trump he's had over 60 tweets pulled. That's the president of the United States. And fucking Twitter is from what state, what country? It's not Russia. It's not China. Right? It's not. It's from America. So, with that in mind, I don't think we have a real grasp of what we are now. No matter what party you're on or what you're doing, who you're believing in, or where you're getting your information. I do know that there are people, definitely people, like in the movie Payback with Mel Gibson. It always comes down to one person. One guy, one man that makes the fucking call, right? These are those guys. Or, like I said, they're being manipulated. They're being maybe influenced. I don't know. Maybe there's a little extortion in some way. Who fucking knows? But obviously, the partisan reasoning here that I'm definitely seeing is it's favorable to what they want to do. They know they have the power to curb minds. They know they have the control. They know they can manipulate elections. How fucking, I mean, that question alone is just fucking, I'm sorry, it's just stupid. Of course they can. They can majorly affect how people think by either taking information off of a social platform or leaving it on. But again, we don't have any say-so. This is the First Amendment right I'm talking about. This is the fucking biggest problem. Because I guess we can't make up our own minds again. I mean, I've said this over and over and over and over and over and over again. I don't have the ability to take some information with a grain of salt and go, I wonder what's going on with that. Right? People still don't talk about fucking Glass-Steagall and how Biden was a part of Glass-Steagall, which helped create 2008 recession, depression. Nobody's even talking about that. There's so much more going on out there. It's fucking driving me nuts. It's just look, I'm just trying to tell you that if you're listening to CNN, Fox, mainstream media, even Washington Post, New York Times, LA Times, the Register in Orange County, which I used to read every once in a while, and whatever publication or social media outlet you're looking at or whatever the case may be, you've got to do your own research, people. You've got to see, and when you're voting for something, what did they vote for? Did they vote for your city to have clean water or your state to have clean water? Do they care about the pollutants that are going into the oceans and the lakes and the rivers? Are they doing what's necessary for the ma and pa companies instead of the gigantic companies that don't need the help? I mean, right now, Right now, 644 billionaires or that have just billionaires and people that have become billionaires on the planet during COVID, right, have received in their pockets almost $11 trillion. $11 trillion. Tell me COVID isn't an enabler to a lot of things. Like I said, how many birds can profit from one COVID stone or killed? Right? That's one of my first shows. I did that in like late April, March. This is we're all getting played. This is all bad. This is not good. Pay closer attention. I'm just trying to tell you that it's just so seriously important to many people out there that you dig, just hit the Marianas Trench, man. Go fucking deep, right? You may not like what you hear, but at least you'll know it's real, right? Last thing, I'm going to play another one right here, and then we're going to get going. I think somebody else has a show coming up here pretty soon. 9:30. Stevie with Redneck Economics is going to be on. I want you guys to check out her channel. It's good stuff, by the way. Good stuff. Great reporting. She's a serious researcher. I sent out an invite to Derek Bros and also to Whitney Webb. Hopefully they'll come on. One of them, maybe 5 minutes. I just got a few questions, probably questions you never heard before, but they're important, and they're for, like I said, about the planet and all of its inhabitants. Okay, because I give a shit. All right. Let me get back to the info. Center this off. There we go.
There could be messages that are sent that could throw our democracy into chaos, and a lot of it can be and will be created if social media sites do not police what the president says. Mr. Zuckerberg, if President Trump shares Russian or
see, that's a Democrat. Listen to what he says again. Okay?
News peddling a myth. And today, my Republican colleagues on the Senate Commerce Committee are simply doing the president's bidding. Let's be clear. Republicans can and should join us in addressing the real problems posed by big tech. But instead, my Republican colleagues are determined to feed a false narrative about anti-conservative bias meant to intimidate big tech so it will stand idly by and allow interference in our election again. Here's the truth. Violence and hate speech online are real problems. Anti-conservative bias, a problem. Our foreign attempts to influence our election with disinformation are real problems. Anti-conservative bias is not a problem. The big tech business model, which puts profits ahead of people, is a real problem. Anti-conservative bias is not a problem. The issue is not that the companies before us today are taking too many posts down. The issue is that they're leaving too many dangerous posts up.
Whoa. Whoa. They don't even hear themselves speaking. They're leaving too many. I mean, how many tweets have you seen that you kind of just fell into or something, or Facebook or somebody sent, and it's, they don't even give you a chance to fucking, they don't even say, hey, be careful before you watch this because something really bad is evil or wrong is going to happen. Every once in a while you might get that, but it appears anyway. That's everywhere. But let me decide if I want to fucking watch that thing. But this motherfucker here, is that Coburn? I think it's Coburn. No, it's not Coburn. Not that it matters. He's a senator. He's a shithead. They're all shitheads. Because I can say that. because I'm not bound to one party. Woo. Right? Yeah, he's not even hearing himself. What he just said. We're not taking down enough. It's like you're not taking down enough people. You're not censoring enough fucking people. You're not quieting. You're not stifling. You're not oppressing enough people. You're not subjugating enough people. Right? You're not taking their First Amendment rights away. You're not taking their First Amendment rights away, God damn it. And you better fucking do it. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. You shitheads. God, when did the fucking left become so fucking delusional? Oh, God, it just makes me fucking... Anyway, I don't get too excited about this. But it's very simple. Our First Amendment rights are being fucking stripped. It's very, very simple. And that's just terrible. And then it's wrong and that's bad. So, I played that. That one was a good one. Yeah, I wanted you to hear the side of the Democrats. I think that's fair. But their side is very fascist. I mean, I have dozens... I would say I have at least 24 Facebook false fact checks everywhere, right? Everywhere. Just insanity. Like every other day, right? I'm getting something that's being taken down all the fucking time, and it's just bullshit and it's wrong. All right, so. Let me kind of sum it up with this, and I think this is important for everybody to know. They're both. It's not just the Republicans. It's not just the Democrats. It's not just the Green Party. It's not just the Libertarian Party. It's the parties. It's just, believe me when I say this, because it has been intimated by George Washington in his farewell address that he does not believe that parties, you should be weary of the parties. Because what has happened and will happen and has always happened in the history, and there's a bunch of fucking parties out there, by the way, is somebody gets desperate. Somebody cracks. People have a price. Groups have a price. So if you're able to vote for yourself on whoever you want, whether it's Jesse Ventura or Biden or Trump or Joe, or like me, I voted for Gloria La Riva, right? But the props, I think, were perfect with Taylor's, my nephew's a list of stuff, which I think is important for California. You're able to do, you don't have to fucking listen to these people. You don't have to listen. You don't have to. You don't have to go through any of this shit. The reason why writeinvoting.org or nonpartyvoters.org or partycrashers.us, I like that one, was created is so that they can take a look at us and say, looks like they don't want parties anymore. Because the parties, we keep fucking them over. The Poor People's March, over 50 years ago by Martin Luther King, a living wage, health care, workers' rights, social justice, equality, all this stuff is still being asked for. All this shit is still being asked for. But for some reason, you guys keep thinking, and I'm going to say you guys because I'm talking to people that still are stuck in this party mentality, right? You're still in that party mentality where you truly believe that you have to be with a party in order to be something. You know, go be in a group, your golf club or your tennis club. or go hang out with the surf club, or the macrame club, or be a grand poobah of some, for whatever. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. But the parties themselves always get compromised. Always. History has shown that over and over and over and over again. Because what happens is once people start getting together, that's when the corporations start paying attention. Oh my God, how many people are donating and subscribing and part of that party now? Dude, it's like 500,000. We need to go talk to those people. That's what happens. That's what happens. How many people are starting to follow that particular party or that particular movement? Black Lives Matters, Tea Party. We need to infiltrate them. We need to, in their minds, they understand. They need to take control of that group. Be your own fucking party. Be responsible for yourself. If you want something done right, do it yourself. My grandma used to say. Right? Be responsible for your own actions. Don't blame it on your party. Right? See, here's the other takeaway about parties. Right? Oh shit, I went with the Democratic Party. They said they were going to do this and do that, but instead they pushed a button, they fucking nuked Russia, and now we're all fucking dead. Not my fault. Party did it. It is your fault. There are states right there. Right now you can vote. You can write in people. I recommend doing it. I recommend writing in whoever you can. If you're able to write in whoever you want, you fucking do it. But make sure they're listed as a write-in. And that it's documented. Yeah, there's a lot of fucked up voting machines and shit out there. I get it. But what I'm saying is if they start to see that we're starting to get away from this fucking herd mentality, right? That was the stupidest name, vote herd. I can't believe I started it like this. But anyway, just be your own party. Do it yourself. Be responsible for yourself, your own actions. Don't blame it on a fucking party, right? Blame it on yourself. Okay, I voted for that guy. And he did a great job. Oh, I voted for that person, that girl. She did a great job or fucked up. Who knows? But what I'm saying is be your own party boss, right? That's why I started nonpartyvoters.org. I think it's brilliant. But I think it's needed and it's necessary at this time. I think they need to know that we don't need these fucking parties. We don't need these hearing dog and pony shows. We don't need all this fucking back and forth blame, pontification, hyperbolic narratives, talking points. We do not need this anymore. We're fucking done with it. It's getting us nowhere. All this distraction, this party distractions, all this other crap, nothing's happening for the 99%. They're still hurting. They're still fucking hurting. Like the millions, the hundreds of thousands. I mean, the numbers are still there. People are still fucking starving in the richest country on the planet. Anyway, I think my point is clear. We need to protect our rights right now, and I think the best way to do it is we got to get money out of politics. That's number one. But if you want them to pay attention to you, vote on your own. Write in your own vote. Once they start to see that you're starting to leave their party, they're going to start paying attention. They're going to try they'll do whatever. They might even change policy to get you to get back. They might give you what you want just to bring you back. How about that? All right. Thank you all for coming. Hopefully you guys got the point. Keep your First Amendment rights. COVID is fucking bullshit. The PCR tests are bullshit. Right? The RT-PCR tests are bullshit. The death count numbers are bullshit. Right? Yes, there is a virus. It's not as bad as we thought it was. This is my next show. Just letting you know, see those palm trees over here? Palm trees. I'm going after IG. I'm going after Hawaii. Because you guys are the next Australia, New Zealand that's happening right now. You're going to be forced to take the vaccine. And this motherfucker is going to make sure it happens. People have died already from these tests, these vaccines. Anyway, Hawaii, you're next. I've got to help that fucking state. I've got to help that state. You guys need the help. Anyway, Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for listening. Good seeing everybody here. Oh, RB Ham, good to see you. The government loves you so much they want to protect you from the flu by destroying your ability to earn a living. Yes. Very good. Well, say vote for Luke Skywalker. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Whoever you want. But once you start to fucking get away from the party, those party barriers, they're going to start going, oh, wait, maybe we should start doing something for the people. Because it looks like they're starting to tear away. Not enough people read Bradbury, Orwell, and Huxley and applied it to our present situation. Oh my God. Okay, I've got to. I think I've read parts of Orwell, 1984. Are you familiar, honey, with Bradbury and Huxley?
Not so much Huxley, but Bradbury, very familiar with.
Very familiar with Bradbury. Okay. Snort. Pelosi got 28,000 in the second relief package, where the people got 0. She just needs bigger refrigerators, man. I mean, if that's what it takes, get yourself a bigger refrigerator, Nancy. Just get a bigger fucking refrigerator, for fuck's sakes. I had been predicting depression since 2018. Now it is going to be a double dip depression. Oh, yeah, dude. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm chip cheery, but it's hard. All this. I mean, those are the stories that MSNBC, especially CNN, are not talking about right now. That there are people that are becoming major. I got to keep the fucking liquor stores open. Major alcoholics. People are becoming major drug addicts. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're stuck in your fucking house. You got to have a psychedelic, or like a big bong, and or some fucking horse tranquilizer. I don't fucking know. I have been predicting to corruption past the most post-elections. Michael, I don't know if he's still here. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. I think you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, don't fuck with our First Amendment rights. So last but not least, I should do this. I don't know why I'm not doing this, but I'm going to do it right now. Here we go. Since I've been bragging about it, I'm typing in write-in voting. It's write-in voting, one word, .org, or write-in-voting.org. Let me take you to the site. Bada bing, bada boom. Right? I'm going to go through a couple things. It's time to break from partisan barriers, right? Come on. Grandma always told me, if you want something done right, do it your fucking self. That's what I'm saying. I think she did say the F word, but I just didn't put it in there. Lots of stuff happening with COVID. This is something I think is very important. What I think we should do now. And hopefully you guys will take my advice on this. The commands by the corporate elite 1% that are executed by our supposed public servants to place continued tyrannical subjugation, oppression, and fascism upon the 99% must stop. It is time for the 99% to break partisan barriers. Fuck your party, fuck where you think you came from, and come together and to march to stop the scamdemic, the plandemic, and all this crap that's happening to us. For sure. Oh, Michael's been hanging out ever since Stevie gave us a warning on Twitter that she'd be podcasting. Oh, yeah, she'll be up soon, guys. I'm going to get up real quick. Let me see here. And some other good information. I mean, where do you stand? Seriously, where do you stand? Climate change? I mean, you want Second Amendment rights? I mean, you're not going to get fully what you want from these parties, period. That's the end of that's the story I'm trying to say. You're not going to get what you want from a party because they're not going to give you what you exactly want. When you're able to write in your own person, you can create your own candidate. I don't know if you remember the CFAR. They signed the CFAR to make sure that they would commit to doing certain things. Or I think the Justice Democrats started this, but then they, of course, got compromised and infiltrated by the Clinton mafia, sadly. But you could actually create your own politician. You can actually say, okay, we are going to support you. We're going to get you into this position. but you have to make sure you not only sign this document, similar to a CFAR, that it is liable in court, that if you do not do everything in your power to push for this type of legislations, etc., then we have the power to remove you and put somebody else in there. Booyah. Booyah. Anyway, thank you guys all for coming. We got to start taking action, man. We got to start taking action. I mean, I was trying to do this back in 2015 and 16, and it seems like a broken record. I keep hearing Bernie bullshit, keep hearing Clinton-like bullshit. I keep hearing, the same old bullshit, like a broken record, but now there's COVID that nobody's fucking talking about, which is kind of sad. Something like blatantly right in fucking front of you, right? And I do wear my mask. The only reason is for the care and the concern of others, right? But I pick and choose where I want to wear it, because I know there's places in West Virginia that you can go in and they're just done with it. But if I go to Walmart, I don't want to cause any fucking problems. But we need to start protesting and marching for sure to stop this COVID shit, like England and London. London's doing, and other countries. Yeah, this mask thing is just way out of control, people. Anyway, aloha, aloha, aloha. Thank you all for